Amen. You may be seated. You know, we've been on a series for the last 3 months. I don't know if you're on or off, but if you're off, today I pray that you're on. And this is the truth about heart disease, and it's about the power of the tongue. And we think that the tongue has a lot to do with just what we say or the words that are coming out of our mouth. But truth be told, when it comes to our health, it's what's going in our mouth. And we have to watch our mouth because it's what the condition of the mouth is. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And sometimes we'll say things that we really don't mean, but we kind of say them because we've been taught and trained, and what we see, we say, like, my toe is hurting. I got a headache. My stomach is upset. You even tell people about your diabetes and cancers and things of that nature. When you don't believe that you have them, you believe you're healed and walk by faith, but you continue to tell the people around you that you have it and that you own it. And you own it by the things that come out of your mouth. Well, God hasn't given us any disease. He's not the author of them. He's the healer of them. And we have to learn how to believe that in totality as the body of Christ. Because we believe it until we're faced with it ourselves or somebody in our family. I lost a close friend today to heart disease, who was a health practitioner just like me, a cancer expert, written many books. What in the cell is going on? Well, I want to know what in the cell is going on too, especially when it came to him. He was 59 years old. And there's a lot of people leaving here too soon. So this is serious to me. If it's not to you, I pray that God speaks to you through the information I'm going to share, because I believe that we need to not just walk by sight, but we got to walk by faith and really mean it. Because we say it, but do we really mean it is the question. So as I bring this heart attack message to you, I bring it to you because I want to know if you are the one creating the heart attack. I ask you that because I believe that the church should be packed. As many people that I hear about or that I work with, and they don't even know what they don't know, but they're not really willing to find out, because if you're not dealing with it in the front of you, you don't tend to want to know anything about it. But if it hits your loved one or somebody that you know close, then you want to know what happened. And she seemed, or he seemed, to be healthy. It's not what you see on the outside. It's what's going on the inside. A heart is a muscle. Just like you have muscles in your body, whether you work them out or not, they're there. And if you don't work them out and you begin to work them out, you'll find out that they're there. Right? So heart disease is the #1 killer worldwide. And they also tell us that it's the silent killer. Why is it silent? It's not silent because people don't know about it. It's because the symptoms that we're dealing with, we don't know that there are symptoms of the heart attack that's on its way. And I need you to be mindful that as I share some of these statistics with you, is it possible to get this presentation here? My notes are small and my eyes are good, but I need them to be a little bit better tonight. Amen. Pray for me. I'm reading anyway. Of the total deaths this disease causes, approximately 50% of them occur in the American society. And I want to say in our community. Because we're the #1 top leaderboards in every single disease. We're at the top. I mean, we want to be at the top of things, but this is not the one. This is not the one. And it really hurts my heart to see that, because I can tell many people in many races about what they need to do, the things that they need to turn around. But when it comes to us, you know what we say? Jesus is a healer, but you're not doing what he told you. He is the healer. That's the truth. That's a fact. But if you don't do what he tells you to do, how do you expect to get what you believe he's giving you? You were born perfect, never to malfunction. But we malfunction because of the lack of knowledge of the things that we don't know about. Heart disease is killing so many people because they just don't know what they don't know. And it's really sad, and it's getting worse. Because it's not just because you didn't eat the foods that are on the left and you ate more of the foods on the right. There's other things. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy in John 10:10. But do you know what door he's coming in? We put locks on our doors, but we already let the burglar in our kitchen. He is in your cabinets. Yeah, he's in your bathroom hiding and stuff that we don't think is nothing wrong with it. But because of the chemicals that go on our body, they go in and they open up doors that we don't have keys for. This ain't even in my message. But I'm mad. I'm mad at the devil. You don't have to be mad at him, because if he snatch another one out here, I'm going to be ready to box him real time. Because I'm tired of this. When the answers are already here, we don't have to look for no answers. He left everything that we need right here. We don't have to wait for a cure. You ain't got to buy a ticket for it. You don't have to run for it, walk for it. You don't even have to wear pink for it. But we do that because the world system has taught us to do those stupid things. But you do have to eat for it. Can I tell the truth and shame the devil? And I don't care what people say about me. I don't. Because I'm 30 years free of cancer, and can't nobody tell me nothing when it comes to my health, because I'm going to do what it takes to keep my body right. I want to live long and strong. I got children and grandchildren. And I can't see them if I'm broke down and toe down to the floor down. $600 million American people around the world suffer from heart disease, resulting in 12 million deaths a year. No. The thing about these people that are dealing with this heart disease issue, it's not just about the heart, but it is about high blood pressure. Do you have to check it? Did you wreck it? Animals don't check high blood pressure. They don't get headaches. But we do. Where'd your headache come from? Because you didn't have Tylenol in the cabinet? That's not where it comes from. It comes from the things that we do over and over again to our bodies, and they open up doors that we don't mean to go through. How did I get here? What's going on? Y'all already reading the PowerPoint. I'm not even there yet. It's all right. It's okay. I bring it because sometimes, the devil can take your ears while you're trying to hear. I'm watching and listening to you, but I can't hear you. You ever heard of that? That's called listening. See, do you hear me or are you listening? There's two different things. Because I've sat in services and, somebody might laugh at what pastor said. I go, oh, I missed that. What did he say? Because I was watching and listening, but I wasn't hearing him. There's a difference. We don't hear what the doctor says because we got our mind made up as to what we're going to do about it if it happens to us. And my question to you is, what are you going to do if a heart attack comes to you? It's coming to ages younger and younger. They're finding that children as young as 3 years old have clogged arteries. Why? All they do is eat, cry, and poop. So why would they have a blocked artery at 3 years old? Because I've watched young mothers who haven't been taught by their parents or mothers and grandmothers how to feed their children. I've seen it here. I've seen it where I come from. I see it every place I go. But unlike it was when we were little, where you could go over and tell a mother what to do. Today, you better not try it. I watched a mother putting Coca-Cola into a 2-year-old baby's bottle. Why would you give a baby a Coke? They don't have teeth, but if you drink this Coke, they say have a Coke to smile. No, have a Coke and you can't smile because you don't have no teeth. Because it corrodes them and destroys them. Right, it does. And it's not something that your body recognizes as food. I need you to get on the right side. The number one killer worldwide, in Luke 21 and 26, it says, men's hearts failing them for fear. Because men don't always want to go to the doctor. They don't really want to be told what's going on. Am I right? You don't have to tell me. I know I am. Because I have a husband. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Okay, well, you hopping like, a kangaroo, but ain't nothing wrong. Because that's what they do. I mean, nobody wants to be faced with a doctor. And then you think about there's a bill attached to it. There's things that we think about that we're not quite ready for. Well, if you're not ready for disease or sickness, get out of that lane. What percentage of deaths are associated with disease that can be prevented? 50%. There's no reason for you to deal with any sickness or disease when the answers are here, but it's a matter of choice, because lifestyle loads the gun, but your choices pull the trigger. In Proverbs 27:12, it says, "A prudent man foreseeth the evil, and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished." So now that we know that half of the deaths associated with heart disease can be prevented, do you all have anybody in your family that has left here too soon due to heart disease or dealing with it right now? Some of us know somebody, but today hopefully you'll take them the news that they need to hear. What is probably the most significant risk factor in heart disease or stroke? Statistics say that one death occurs every 33 seconds from cardiovascular disease, and 9 out of 10 heart attacks are preventable. 1 in 4 Americans have some form of cardiovascular disease. How many did I say? 1 in 4. So if you count yourselves off, you can see how close it can be to you. We don't think about those things. And we have lots of activities and things that we do here. And even still, when they come to having food around them, are you conscious of what that food is? 99% of the time I'll eat before I come because I can't eat while I'm here. And I don't mean here, I'm talking about wherever I go. Heart disease develops as a result of stress, caffeine intake, that's coffee, alcohol consumption, tobacco use, a diet consisting of animal fats and trans fats or processed oils like canola oil and vegetable oil and the oils that we talked about oils a few weeks ago. How many of y'all remember that oils don't have a taste, so therefore they're not a food? But we've been taught to use them. Refined sugars, that's white sugars, by the way, and the food is white. Don't take a bite, by the way. Processed grains, foods with high protein content that doesn't work or is not usable in the body. What do I mean by that? There are proteins that our bodies can use and proteins that our bodies cannot. Now, that doesn't mean we can't eat them because they're edible. But is it right? There's a way that seems right to man, but the end doesn't lead them to the places that they want to go. And last but not least, our sedentary lifestyles. We want to eat all these greasy, sweet, fatty, delicious, foods that we feel like we can't be without, but we don't want to pay the price to keep our bodies looking right. And would you go to a fat fitness trainer? I know I wouldn't. I'm like, what they going to show me? Hello. What we going to do today? Are you going to do it too? You know what I'm saying? Because usually you go to the trainer, they're telling you, give me 10. You need to go, give me 50. I mean, right? You ever been to, yeah. Nobody goes to a fat fitness trainer. Statistics tell us that Americans lead the pack in coronary disease. Scientists' tests show that diet and lifestyle are our changes, and changes are developing, and we can prevent heart disease or dis-ease in our body, because that's really what it is, as well as chances of overcoming and surviving heart disease. We have the power to do that. And if you have the power to kill yourself, you also have the power to heal yourself. You do. But sometimes it's harder to heal ourselves than it is to kill ourselves, because foods are everywhere. I know, driving down the streets, I remember doing a class one time called Soul Food. And it wasn't soul food like macaroni and cheese and greens and fried chicken. That is soul food. I'm talking about food for the soul. Because when we eat the wrong foods that are for our soul, they'll lead us to an early hole that's called a grave. I know I'm right. There's a theory that says most heart attacks are caused by a blockage caused by plaque buildup in 4 major coronary arteries. And from my training as a health practitioner, I know to be true that no matter what the disease that I'm facing or I'm told that someone has, it takes the same protocol to get them out of that place. Because the only way the body can be in sickness is that it's full of toxins and no nutrition or not enough going in. Only way. Whether it's arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, it doesn't matter. The body has just a little more poisons with one disease than another, but the same disease, the body doesn't even know it. It has no idea. It wasn't given a list. Oh, by the way, these things may come up, so you need to know what they are. Did they tell you when you were coming up in your family, when you got married, by the way, Pastor Twan, we got this in our family and that in our family, so you need to be watching. Did they tell you that? No. They don't tell you that. But as soon as you go to the doctor, they'll ask you, does any of this run in your family? Like you go and take a list, your Christmas list, and you waiting for it to happen to you. That's an industry. And we get caught in that medical merry-go-round that takes us around and around. And that man that died that I just told you about, he was a man healing people every day, but was put on a drug that he was told he'd be on for his life due to a sickness, a legal drug, because that's what medicine is. It's a poison and a drug. And we tell our children to stay away from drugs, but we got them in our purses and cabinets. And they don't work. Since when has Tylenol really healed a headache? Did you know that's probably because you haven't had water in about a week? And your brain is saying, I need a little bit of that. But you don't want to listen to it. Instead, you want a Coke and a smile. And after a while, you only have 2 teeth left to smile. So I already said the high blood pressure is probably the most significant factor when we talk about heart attacks and strokes, as well as any physical problems. And that's because so many people, I don't care what the disease is, what is the number one thing people ask? Do you have anything for blood pressure? Why you need to know? Why are you asking me about blood pressure? Are you on blood pressure medication? Well, the doctor, see, they say, and who is they anyway? They say. Stop believing they and start believing him. He created you. You act like you don't know. You know your toe ain't hurting just because it's hurting. It's hurting because you ate too much seafood. See? See, some of the seafood that we eat is not for you to have inside of your body, especially those, they call them scavengers of the sea, cockroaches, that's what they really call them. Y'all know what lobster is, and crab, and shrimp. Those are scavengers of the sea. Just like, do y'all like cockroaches in your house? Well, then why do you eat that stuff and put it in your body? They're cockroaches too. Don't, I know you knew. I'll stay away. It says that the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart. And it's something that we need to pay attention to. You only get one heart. And when it stops beating, that's it. It's over. And I work with the Gift of Hope organization, and this is a really difficult message for me because she just lost her husband. She goes around asking people to donate their organs after someone passes away. And she called me the day that her and her husband were out riding their bike just 2 weeks ago. And she said, I need you to come. My husband fell off the bike. Now, he ain't 2, so he can't ride. But he had a massive heart attack and collapsed off of his bike. And I have to tell you, I've seen heart attacks recover even after being gone for 20 minutes, using what I already know over here, because God already left the formula. Yeah, I know of an 85-year-old man singing in the choir, had a heart attack. He lived in Canada. His son's a doctor. But he died, and they had him for 20 minutes till he got there so they could let him view the body. And we went in with what we used, and he came back to life after being shocked 5 times. So when I heard about her, I took everything he had. I was ready. Because the Bible says in the last days we'll see those things. I ain't scared. I'm not scared. So I was ready. but they weren't. I had everything I need. God had already told me when I got in the car. Thank God I brushed my teeth and it came on. But I was ready when I got there. But because of what they told them, what they saw, they couldn't believe by faith what they could see. God's plan is to combat heart disease. High blood pressure, as we just told you, is one of the characteristics that opens this door. So if you are on high blood pressure medication, I suggest you do everything you can to get off of it. Because heart disease is a silent killer. It's not going to tell you, I'm coming over today. No. And some of the things that we need to be concerned about, these pressure points, is that the heart pumps faster. These are things you need to look out for. The blood vessels constrict. The blood volume increases. One or more blood vessels become partially blocked. And you have heard of that because people get stents. You've heard of that? And why would they put a stent in? Do you know what a stent is? I mean, that's like, there's a blocked tube, and they put a stent in it to open it up. Tell me, is that fixed? Because if you don't know what you did to cause it to get blocked, you think that little stick is going to open it up? And for how long? Till you eat more fat. I told you fat ain't where it's at. Jesus didn't fry, and neither do I. Get an air fryer if you just have to have fried, okay? Because it does work. And it takes all that fat out that you don't want to wear, so you don't have to wear it. And you don't. It really works. One or more blood vessels become partially blocked. Toxins in the blood create a traffic jam. Because you sometimes can't see where the blockage is. They don't know if it's going to the head causing a stroke, right? Going to the leg blocking something in the toe, or going right to the heart. It's the heart of the matter. That's what we're talking about. Are you creating a heart attack? The kidneys and or the liver are not functioning properly. So if that's happening to you, you need to find out what you need to do to unblock those things. The individual is dealing with hypertension or also may be obese. That's not always the case. But even if you have a few more pounds than you want to carry, you probably want to pay attention to that. Because they're trying to tell us that obesity is actually worse than cigarettes today. So you don't have to smoke. Just eat a little bit more. You might as well smoke because you're not moving to get it off. But there are some doctors I was introduced to as a medical missionary going on the mission field to help people. And it was called God's Plan. And you'll see that acronym, and it talks about godly trust, open air, daily exercise and sunshine to reduce your stress, proper rest, because if you don't get proper rest and the rest you get ain't proper, you'll know about it. Lots of water, always be temperate. Don't be going off the handle because you ate an excitotoxin and now your brain is about to go off on her. And it ain't that she wants to go off on you, Sister Yolanda. It's because she ate too much of them Cheetos that she shouldn't have ate, or Doritos, because those are excitotoxin foods. Or children that eat Pop-Tarts and junk foods and Cracker Jacks and Sugar Smacks and Skittles and M&M's. Can I go on? All that colorful fake food that don't look like that food that we put in our bodies, and we know it's not even food. So nutrition is really important. Doctor nutrition, you need to get to know. We got to eat right because the food that we eat could be dead food. And you have to know it. I remember getting raised when I was a little girl and snapping peas when I came from the school and shucking corn. And these kids today don't even know that French fries come from a potato. This lady tried to tell me, my son is fine. He knows, because we teach him. I'm saying, we're going to see. I asked a little boy in the cart. He had to be about 5. He should know, right? I said, where do French fries come from? He said, McDonald's. So you know that she didn't teach him, right? McDonald's, Five Guys, it was somebody. But it wasn't from the potato. The perfect death, food and toxins. That's the perfect death. And that's what happens to a lot of us. And I mean, if I'm talking to you, just say, oh, Lord, just help me. You know, that's all you do. Nobody's perfect, including me. I'm not perfect. There's things I absolutely won't eat, but every once in a while I do have popcorn, but you got to be mindful that you can't eat that every day. But you ain't going to catch me with no animal hanging off my lip, not a one. After what they did to me, they don't get to partake in this temple right here. No, you can't come in and I ain't letting you in, okay? The door is locked. And I threw away the key. Cooked foods can cause heart dis-ease. Did she say cooked food? I did. Because there's no enzymes in them. And today, one of the problems with heart disease is that our stomach is so jacked up, it's just a ball of confusion. You eat something, your stomach says, I ain't like that. You eat something else, nah, I got gas. You eat something else, nah, I'm bloated. Your stomach is trying to tell you something. Listen, Linda. All the nutrients are destroyed at 130 degrees. So every time we cook our foods, we kill them, and they don't have any value to our body. My girlfriend bought a Mercedes. And if you drive a car of those caliber, there's a certain type of gasoline that they tell you it has to have. Because if you don't give it to it, it's going to buck and hop and scream, right? Well, she just thought, because her money was funny and her change was strange, that she would give it what she wanted to, just to see, and then it stopped working. Because it was like the car said, I told you, right? What if your body did that? Oh, my goodness, you'll be driving into the whatever your favorite fast food restaurant, and your body going, I don't want to go there, and you just are driving. And when you eat it, your body go, boop, 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 and you go, dang, I shouldn't have ate that. And the body going, I told you not to go in there in the first place. What would you do? You would be in better shape. You'd feel better. But when we get grown, we can do what we want to. We'll sit there and give food to our children because we're too lazy to prepare the right food. I know I'm telling the truth. You have to tell me, I know. Leading health authorities agree that 80% of our diet should be composed of raw, living food. Now, I'm not saying you got to be like Roger Rabbit eating carrots and, celery and cucumbers. I'm saying that you need more of it on your plate. And you already know. Because if I did an evaluation of each one of you, the first thing you said, this is what people do. So what's your diet look like? Well, I've been trying to eat. I didn't ask what you're trying to do, right? I said, what is your lifestyle like? I don't want to know what your wish list is, because we all have those. And here's the thing. How are you going to fulfill God's purpose without your body? What you going to work out of? When you're already walking around like a junkyard. Hello. Fried foods destroy the body from the inside out, because you can't see what's going on. And I don't care how large or small you are, disease sometimes doesn't let you know it's lurking, even when you're about size 2. Because it doesn't tell you. But the symptoms are always trying to tell you by things that are going on. Not getting enough sleep. You have constipation because you're not drinking water. Your body's telling you all these things. I know I'm reading your mail. I'm okay. I'm all right about it. Open heart surgery procedure. Anybody ever seen and know what it's like having it? I have a friend, Dr. Terry Mason, and I remember listening to him do a presentation because he's a cardiologist. And just to preface this, I know we have a nurse in the house. He talked about how complicated that surgery is, how they stop the heart and they cut the sternum open with this device. It's almost like a saw to open it up. Is it like one? It is a saw. To crack open your chest, I just can't even get it. And he makes an 8 to 10 inch cut in the chest and cuts through all the parts of the patient's breastbone. I'm not talking about chicken like you eat. I'm talking about the patient human. to get to the heart, to reconnect and clean out so he can connect it back together, because they stop the heart to do that, so that means the person not living, so they stop his heart to do that, put it back together, and restart the heart. Am I right? Now, how complicated is that? Who wants to go through that? Isn't it easier just to say, I think I'll try me a grape. They'll clean me out. Yeah. They'll flush me, no constipation. Hey, right? I can feel better. Everything's flowing and moving. I'm grooving. I done lost 10 pounds. But nope, you're too impatient. Ain't got time for that. So you go for this. They give us chemo cocktails to poison us. A drug for every bug, a pill for every ill, a lotion as a potion, an injection for the infection, When in doubt, they cut it out, or we'll just burn it out. You don't need it anyway. Cutting off limbs and stuff that you need. And they guess and test to relieve your stress. The problem is we have too much junk in the trunk and crud in our blood. That's the real problem. But we don't see it like that. It's easy just to tell the doctors to do what they do, right? Because it's no muss, no fuss. The standard American diet is one of the most deadly diets in the world because it leads to the standard American diseases and standard American deaths. And if you look at this pie chart, you can see how much of the food that the average person eats who's on this diet. They eat 63% of processed foods. And that's food that we don't really know what it is. Because when you buy something that comes in a container, you don't really know what it is until you read the label. Somebody sent me something and said, this looks really healthy. Is this healthy? Just because the picture looks healthy doesn't mean what's in it is. Read the label. And if there's more than 7 to 10 ingredients and you have to know the names of what those ingredients are, don't bring them in the house. Because you might as well let the burglar in. Yeah, I have white sugar over there because people are addicted to crack. They tell me that all the time. And I told you that when we're eating the standard American diet, it can make you a Honda. Yeah, a person that is hypertensive, suffers with obesity, has a nutrition deficiency, a person that deals with diabetes and who suffers with arthritis. I call this death by choices. And they categorize us this so they don't call you always by your name. They go, Miss Honda's coming in. The doctor told me that. I said, wow, and they get away from that because you don't know, and you don't even know to ask. That's the sad part of it. We can do a couple things. I don't want to leave you and spank you and never give you something to say, thank you for loving your body. Love your body a little bit. Even if it feels good for that one day, say, body, thank you. You got to thank your body. You only get one. We get mad at it because the toe is, all messed up, and you got toe jam, and toe jam could come from what you ate because you got all this crust and you can't bend down and do your, whatever. But thank your body for being good to you sometimes. If you would give it a little bit of exercise, I don't mean going to a gym, how about some things that you just do instead of sitting behind a TV sedentary, watching your computer all day, or your Mac or whatever you do, or sitting at your sitting job. You could do things like we did when we had our own homes. Instead of bringing in cleaning ladies, we actually did our own laundry, made up our own beds, prepared and washed the dishes when we finished, and swept the floor and vacuumed. A lot of people don't do those things anymore. And do you see how much movement and exercise you get just from the basic things? Grocery shopping. Nope, now you can have, excuse me, could you drop off all them drop-off places? I go, wow, we don't do nothing. We don't even have to open the doors anymore. We go, you can press the button and act like you're paraplegic or whatever, press the button and wait till it opens. We don't want to do nothing. How are you going to get your wealth if you don't want to work? Men used to wash their own cars, and women used to do gardening. They don't do any of that anymore. That's called doctor exercise. We need a little bit of that. We need a lot more of that in our world today. Because there's some body wreckers, and I couldn't bring all the food that I would bring here, but if you look, these are some of the very foods that are taking people out of here too soon. Too many funerals, too many deaths, too many dead foods in your cabinet that you need to clean out. And if you haven't done a spring clean, I think you ought to start right here. If you recognize in those foods, just get them out. Now, I didn't really want to get in your stuff. You probably said I already did. But I have a video that I want you to see, and this is a friend of mine, Dr. Michael Clapper from Chicago here. And I always would show this because this really opens the door to men's eyes, because he talks about some foods that I really, if I got to him, you might be telling me, I don't want to see that lady no more. But he's going to kind of break it down nicely for you, because these are foods that we definitely need not to have because they cause a heart attack. So she's queuing that up, and when it's ready, I want you to watch that because this could be somebody that you know.
This is a quotation I saw in medical school by Thomas Edison. It said, "The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but instead will interest his patient in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease." And one of Thomas's brighter ideas. And when I saw this quote in medical school, I just passed it right on by. I went to the University of Illinois College of Medicine in Chicago, and I was so into becoming a real doctor, and real doctors do real doctor things. They deliver babies, they fix broken arms, they sew up lacerations. That's what real doctors do. And diet was boring stuff. Nutrition, yeah, you send them down to the dietitian and they figure out a 2,000 calorie diet and don't bother me. And that's how I practiced medicine for the first 8 or 10 years of my career. Well, I have soon, or late, come to realize how important what we eat really is in the creation and prevention of so many of the diseases that we see today. And I'll tell you how I came to those realizations. Now, the North American diet has changed. This is not going to be a technical lecture, but I did want to show you this one graph because there's some very significant lines here. The two top lines, the lavender line and the yellow line, are the amount of plant-based foods that are consumed in the United States and in Canada as well. And this is back in 1909. You can see we were eating a lot of grain products. We were eating almost 300 pounds of wheat and barley and other grain products, and almost 200 pounds of potatoes a year. Look what happened in the intervening 85 years. Our consumption of wheat and grain products have fallen to half of their 1909 level, and our potato consumption has fallen to half of their 1909 level. Look what happened to the amount of flesh foods that we are eating. The amount of milk we consume has more than doubled. Our beef consumption's gone up by 50%, and our chicken consumption's gone up by 280%. We are eating a tremendous amount of animal flesh, and we have essentially exchanged a plant-based diet for a meat-based diet. And the results have been just disastrous for both our health and the environment. Consider how much animal flesh most North Americans eat. In their lifetime, the average meat-eating American is going to eat 15 cows. Going to eat 24 hogs, eat 12 sheep. She will eat 900 chickens and 1,000 pounds of assorted animals that either swam in the water or flew in the air. That is a tremendous amount of animal flesh to be pouring through the human bloodstream year after year. No wonder we wind up with clogged arteries and high blood pressure and cancers and a lot of other diseases, and I'll show you how those two are related. Let's talk about the health effects of an animal-based diet. Here it is, the great American dietary catastrophe in all its glory. I grew up thinking this was good food. What's for lunch, Mom? Oh, I got something good for you, son, she'd say. And she would give me some food like this. And my mother didn't know, and your mother didn't know. They didn't know that the sausages and the eggs and the ham were just loaded with fat and cholesterol. And this is a coronary artery thrombosis waiting for some place to happen. Now, what is the effect on your body when you eat food like this? Well, the effect was brought out very dramatically to me about 10 years ago. I was on the cardiovascular anesthesia service. That's the service that deals with people's hearts and blood vessels. And like all good anesthesia residents, I was making my rounds one evening to see my patients for next morning's surgery. And the last patient I was seeing, I pulled back the curtain, and there was Mr. Phillips. Nice fella, but he was just huge. He weighed 290 pounds. And he was booked for a 4-vessel coronary artery bypass procedure. He weighed 290 pounds. 290 was also his systolic blood pressure. It was also his cholesterol level. It was also his blood sugar level. I called him Mr. 290. Nice guy, but really clogged up in his arteries. And because it was late at night, it was too late to call the blood drawing technician up to draw his blood test, I drew his preoperative blood work into a glass tube. And I put it out at the nurse's station, and later I came by to pick up the blood tube and take it down to the laboratory. And when I looked at the tube of blood, I couldn't believe my eyes. When you draw blood into a glass tube and let it sit there for an hour, it separates out into 2 parts. And the red clot settles to the bottom, and the liquid part of the blood, the serum, rises up to the top. Here you see 2 tubes of blood, and the tube on the left is normal blood. Here you see the dark red clot. And this golden yellow liquid, this is normal serum. This is what your blood is supposed to look like. But I looked at Mr. Phillips' tube, and it was just shocking. The serum floating in his tube was thick and greasy white. It looked like Elmer's glue. It stuck to the sides of the tube when I shook it. I went back into the room. I said, Mr. Phillips, did you eat before you came to the hospital? He said, yes. I said, what did you have? He said, I had a double cheeseburger and a milkshake. And when he said that, I realized what I was looking at was all the fat in the beef burger, and the butter fat, and the cheese, and the butter fat, and the ice cream, and the butter fat, and the milk had oozed out into his blood and turned his blood fatty. It's a well-known clinical phenomenon. It's called lipemia, and it happens every time you eat a fatty meal. You turn your blood fatty, and your blood stays this way for 4 hours until your liver can clear it out of the bloodstream. If you are like most North Americans and eat bacon and eggs for breakfast and a cheeseburger for lunch and fried chicken for dinner and ice cream for dessert, you're keeping your blood fatty all day. The stuff never clears out of the bloodstream. You keep your blood fatty for 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. What do you think is going to happen to the arteries carrying all that fat? I will show you what happens to the arteries carrying all that fat in a few minutes, but it's a disaster. There's a lot of fat in the North American diet, and it's hidden in most foods. You can see the fat around a T-bone steak, but most of the fat is in the muscle of the animal, and it's hidden in the dairy products. And most of the folks who present food to us don't want us to think about the fat, especially the fast food industry. They really don't want you to think about how much fat is in their burgers and hot dogs, except one chain of fast food restaurants in Los Angeles. There is one burger chain that is very forthright about the reality of the fat content of their diet, and they come right out and tell you clearly on their marquee about the product that they're selling. Now, if you stood outside the exit door of this restaurant or McDonald's or any other fast food restaurant where people are shoveling in their cheeseburgers, if you stood at the exit door with a needle and a syringe in your hand and drew blood on the people walking out the exit door, what you would see is most of the blood would be as fatty as Mr. Phillips' blood tube. Now, they're all in there making the blood fatty. If you ever have a big cheese pizza and a bowl of ice cream afterwards and you feel a little greasy on the inside, it's because you really are. You really go greasy on the inside. Animal fat comes in 3 flavors in the North American diet. It comes in the form of red meat, and the fat is in the meat. It is in the fibers of the animal's muscle, and just trimming off the white fat around the edge of the steak really does not lower the fat and cholesterol content significantly of the meat. So red meat is the #1 source of fat and cholesterol in the North American diet. The second is the yolk of hen's eggs. The egg of a chicken is meant to hatch baby chicks. And the yolk of the hen's egg is one of the most concentrated globs of fat and cholesterol on the planet. It is made to power that baby chicken for 21 days with no other energy. And when you run egg yolks through your bloodstream, you turn your blood fatty, just like Mr. Phillips. And the third source of fat in the North American diet comes from that white fluid that comes out of the udder of a cow. Now, cow's milk is a high-fat fluid exquisitely designed for turning a 65-pound calf into a 400-pound cow in a year. That is what cow's milk is for. Now, whole milk has a butterfat content of 3%. That's the cream that rises up to the top. And you drink a 3% solution of butterfat, you're going to turn your blood fatty, as will a 2 and 1% solution of butterfat. But at the dairy, The butter fat is skimmed off and they concentrate it into huge vats, half the size of this room. And they concentrate the fat to 50, 60, 80, 90% fat. This stuff is so thick you can walk across it. Why do they do that? Well, they do that so you will buy it and eat it. The butter fat is mixed up with air until it hardens into chunks called butter. The butter fat is mixed with sugar and frozen and sold as ice cream. The butter fat is mixed up with cocoa powder and sugar and sold as milk chocolate. Butter fat is mixed up with bacteria and allowed to ferment until it turns into sour cream. A lower fat version is called yogurt. And the butter fat is mixed up with calf's stomach and bacteria and allowed to ferment for about 6 weeks till it hardens into chunks called cheese. These are all forms of butter fat. The folks at the dairy want you to buy the butter fat and eat it. And when you do, you turn your blood fat. There's absolutely no reason to run butter fat through your bloodstream at any time, and I'm submitting to you that you'll be a lot healthier and happier if you do not. Cow's milk is for baby calves. You have no more need of cow's milk than you do giraffe milk or horse milk or rat milk. Now back to Mr. Phillips. Nice fella, but I was impressed with all the fat in his bloodstream. We took Mr. Phillips down to the operating room, and I gave him 1,000 micrograms of fentanyl and put him to sleep, and the surgeon opened up his chest and opened up his aorta and opened up his coronary arteries. And what the surgeon started pulling out of Mr. Phillips' arteries were great, long, yellow, greasy, sausage-like formations of fat that look like this. What you're looking at is a plug of material called atherosclerosis. And this is the plug of fat that built up in a man's arteries. The artery was a tube coming out at you from the screen. The artery wall has been cut away, and you're just looking at the fat that built up. It started around the edge of the blood vessel and started moving in on the blood flow channel as the years went by. And the blood flow channel got smaller and smaller and smaller till only this dark red spot was left for the blood flow to come through. And when a clot formed here, it stopped the blood flow completely through that artery. And because it happened in this man's right coronary artery, it stopped the blood flow to his heart and bought him a ticket to the autopsy table. This is the #1 cause of death of people in North America. Every 30 seconds on this continent, Canada included, somebody grabs their chest and falls over with a heart attack. This is animal fat clogging up the arteries. When you send this material down to the pathologist and you ask him to analyze it, the report always comes back the same: saturated fat and cholesterol. It's animal fat. The pathology report never, ever, ever contains the words remnants of broccoli, rice, and tofu. It's animal fat.
So the great thing about that is when you stop eating all those animal products and start eating more plant-based diet, you reverse that artery. And that's how we're able to reverse heart disease. So hopefully that was an eye-opener, because that's exactly what happens. But there's ways that you can detox that. When Daniel did his diet, he didn't ask, well, can I have a little bit of this? We always ask those things, stuff that we know we can't have. When you got to ask, you probably can't have it. So do what Daniel did. Just stick to this program. Stick to the diet. He was better off when he did. But there's some ways that you can detox your body if you want to begin to do something like that, if you feel you need to do that. And I would rather just take a picture, because there's 27 ways to do that. When we work with cancer patients, we pretty much put them through all of this so we can get the body restored as quickly as possible. And then to keep hope alive, you got to take some things that bring hope to your body, like high fiber foods, omega 3, 6, and 9, and those are your essential fatty acids. That's giving your body a oil change on the inside. And I don't mean from the oils, I mean from the food, like an avocado, a good fat, an olive, a good fat, nuts, a good fat, a food that your body can process when it goes inside, that doesn't go in and slide out. And then a probiotic. I bet you don't know what that is. People think it's just yogurt, but as you can see, it's not the dairy type of yogurt. It's a coconut yogurt, or you can do a kombucha, which are really good. If you like sodas, kombuchas are better because they're going to heal the stomach and taste like a soda. And you can get any kind of flavor you like. And then enzymes. For people that have difficulty when they eat cooked foods and their bodies are talking to them afterwards, take an enzyme to help that cooked food get out of the way, because sometimes when we don't eat foods in order, we cause combustion on the inside, a ball of confusion. And I tell people, use your essential oils too. Those that are using them, I have to say they're God's healing medicine. And they've been here for forever. And they'll be here forever, so do that. Because in Proverbs 14 and 12, it said, there's a way that seems right to man, but the end thereof leads to destruction. And we've all seen that. I heard Stevie Wonder's having kidney transplant. And my question is, if you're going to get a new kidney, if you didn't take care of the one you had, how are you going to take care of this one? That's my question. So that's why I work with Gift of Hope, to give them hope even after they go through things like that. And so the other thing we want to do is to renew our mind. Because if we don't renew our mind, this information I'm giving you should give you a revelation knowledge of the things that you need to do. Everybody will be different because we're at different levels and stages of the game. Some of us have already been healed of things. But when you are, you pass on the information to people who need it. It's not just for you. And in Exodus 15 and 26, it says, if thou would diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord. Some of us don't even want to hear him. You know, we talk about the green grasses that grow for the service of man and for the healing. And green grasses and trees and stuff have been here since biblical time. They're planted deep down in the soil to the roots. And guess what? They grow over and over and over every season for a reason, because they know that this season, these people are coming in, the next season. So your grandmothers and your ancestors have already come by, and the same soil is growing the same plants that are healing you today if you partake of them. So we have to learn how to do that. In Romans 12 and 21, it says, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. So get off of this evil food over here and get on some good food. And watch your body restore. I know Pastor Fathers already has a testimony. Every time I see him, he looks younger and younger and better, because he made some decisions about his health. And by the grace of God, he's a healed man. He may not tell you, but ask him one day. It ain't always easy, but it's always worth it. Some steps to reversing heart disease. I want to give you some of those before we head out of here. The first one is drink water. And drink lemon in your water. Because when you drink the lemon in your water, you're getting all that ooziness and gooiness out of your system, because it shouldn't be in there in the first place. It hydrates your body and alkalizes it. It flushes out toxins. It filters your liver. And if you're one of those people that they say cancer runs in your body, well, you can help it run on out by doing this. Yes, because lemon, especially essential oil, helps to keep the body and cancer at bay, because the lemon acts as a chemotherapy treatment, or it works to support the body going through chemotherapy. That's what's really amazing. Healthy food for your heart comes in things like fruits and vegetables and good fats, nuts, seeds, berries, grains, green foods, herbs, and essential oils. Those are God's real medicines. We have to eat more plants and less processed food. That's Dr. Nutrition. And when we eat some of these foods that have lots of color and vibrancy, first of all, if you went on vacation, they're not just showing you all of the meats and things that you would eat. They all are showing you all the colorful food. Am I right? Even if you ordered a drink, it's colorful and fruity and all that, right? They're not blending up a steak, but they're blending up God's real food, because these are the foods that really work to heal your body. So here are some food healers. Your green drinks, your fruits and vegetables, your water, anything that has color that you like. I tell you to eat what you like, because that you like, you'll eat it. If you don't like it, you're not going to eat it. You'll tolerate it. Now, you're not going to be like me, because I know I eat for healing, so I don't really care what it tastes like, because it's only going to lay on my tongue for a minute, and my tongue don't rule me, I rule it. So man's pharmacy, is that pharmacy or pharmacy? Or did I spell that wrong? No, man's pharmacy is really harming us, but God's pharmacy is healing us. And if you would take these very foods and create a health bar in your refrigerators and in your home, and you would find out that you would eat more of these foods because they're available to you. Cut them up and put them in containers, glass, not plastic. Plastic is dangerous. But cook up a cure in your house. Let your children see what that looks like. Let them participate in it. Man's way is open heart surgery, but God's way is to eat a rainbow every day. And if you can eat it in, get it in. Whatever you like, eat it. Because as you like it, your taste buds get cleaned off, they get unmuted, and the foods that you eat start to stick and stay, and you feel good about it, and it tastes good, and you look in the mirror and says, wow, I got on something I haven't worn in 10 years. Yep. And whether it's in style or not, you don't care. You keep it on. Yeah, you do. Open air or outside air. Now that the weather's changing, don't be scared of the sun. We need the sun because the sun is good to us. We need open air and oxygen because our body recognizes it around the oxygenated plants. That's where we're supposed to be anyway. We're not supposed to be behind the TV stuck in the corner with the pillows up and the covers too. Lack of rest leads to sickness in bed in an early grade. So get proper rest. That means go to bed at a particular time, at least by 10 o'clock if you can, on the days that you can. And if you get in there before midnight, you get an extra bonus of 4 hours of sleep, whether you're sleeping or not. Turn off the phones. I talked about that. You don't want to carry a fat waistline. Turn off your phone because you ain't got to talk. Look, he done caused you to gain 5 pounds in your waist because you done had your phone on. Turn that phone off. He ain't worth that. The man trying to call you late at night, he should have called at regular times. When we had times when they could call, right? Come and call. Time for you to go home. And they didn't even care, right? I don't care about them time to go home. Everybody's lights going out. The more you know, the more you'll grow. I told you that lifestyle loads the gun, but your choices pull the trigger. Our best food comes from the roots. That's why when we feed our babies, we're feeding them from the roots. God put everything that they needed right here. And all these deadly milks and things that we're giving them. Why do we drink cow's milk? Because he's a big animal and we can get a lot out of him. But why don't we drink mice's milk? Because it has more protein than a cow. I know for me, I wouldn't even drink it. I don't want a mouse in the house, much less his milk. But they say in the studies that mice milk has more protein in than a cow. I know it sounds crazy, but it sounds crazy to eat a cow. What you eat? Hello. And today, talking to a butcher, do you know that they bring that meat in now 6 months after they kill the animal? Why are you eating milk when the Bible tells you if you eat meat, eat it in 3 days, and you're waiting 6 months? You buy your chickens and turkeys around when they're on sale and then cook them when you're ready to eat them. You don't know how much bacteria is in that animal. And then when you're trying to figure out what's wrong with you, well, I think I stubbed my toe. No, it was that cow you ate when you bought him on sale. And here's some books, because I want you to know, just like that movie, A Diet for America, look it up on YouTube and watch the whole thing. It's worth watching. But here's some books, and these are some plant-based doctors, 40 years or more, longer than I've been plant-based, that you can learn how they do what they do. Some of them have opened restaurants and farms and things of that nature because they want a healed world. These are real doctors that care. These are not doctors that just care about your money that's coming in to their offices. These are doctors that care about you. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, who healed his own self and 11 of his patients, put them through a plant-based study in Cleveland, Ohio, at the hospital there, the Cleveland Clinic. And these people you could go and see and know, listen to them. This is real. This is not something that people you can't get next to. These people you can get next to. Amen? Get enough sunlight. Get outside, get in the sun. Sun is a really great healer for cancer. It restores your skin and reduces your stress. It's your natural vitamin D. And it grows our food and keeps it well, so it'll keep us well. We need some sun in our life. Another liquid sunshine I've talked about and told you about is liquid essential oils, because they're actually plants in a liquefied form. And I don't mean the ones that you can just buy anywhere, because they need to have some kind of regulations on them. And they need to work. Because you don't want to get a rash and stuff from something that you took in your body and it's supposed to make you well, like medications do. So make sure you read the bottles and know what they are. And then here's a protocol for cardiovascular disease. Serenity, lavender, balance, and lemon. Lemon will help blood pressure go up if you need it and down if you need it. Lemon knows what to do. See, foods have an assignment. They know what to do when they go in. They automatically know they connect to your organs, your tissues. They know what vitamins you need, what minerals you need. And when they go in, they give you what you need. But when you don't give your body what you need, then you end up shortchanged. And then if you've ever been to a chiropractor or if you ever had a pedicure, they do something called reflexology. So there's a foot panel that if you lift up your foot, the control panel of your body is there. And if you look, I put where your heart is, right in the middle of your foot. You know how you want your foot massaged? You're massaging that heart when you do that. The last time I talked about the pancreas, if you just put a little bit of the oils that are necessary for the pancreas to be marinated a little bit and loved on, you'll heal your pancreas. And that's an organ that you can't fix, they tell us. People get put on dialysis and insulin and things, and it doesn't even work. What happens is they start you on that medicine, and the next time they put you on, you go in the line of what they believe is right because that's how they make their money. But when you start doing the right things, that stuff goes away. And you no longer need it because you found out what the real deal is. That's Dr. Nutrition, because that's what we need to do more of. Change your choices. Eat healthy. Change your life and eat real food, because that's really what works. This is a food police alert. They call me Dr. Police, the police, food police, which I don't believe I am, but I don't care what you call me. Just call me. Because I want you to know that when you change and learn about these doctors, these 8 doctors that make house call, you'll have a new start. You'll have a new start and a new life, because the next meal could be the sweet kiss of death if you don't know what it is. Because it's not the food in your life, but the life in your food that counts. So make everybody count. Amen? Amen. God bless.
Oh, clap. Amen. Are you enlightening on tonight? Don't be mad now. Some of y'all mad. Who you mad at? Be mad at yourself when you cleaning out that cabinet tonight, that pantry, throwing stuff away. Just be mad. I've done it. And then I was mad. I had to throw. Boy, amen. No, let me say this. Let's prepare.